Hey, this is Judge Waits bringing you a hardcore team deathmatch on the map Slums. You're going to see me doing something that I don't normally do, and I kind of wanted to put this up on purpose because I wanted to clear the air on something, and that is the topic of camping. Now, apparently I've given some people the impression that I don't like campers, and I think that might stem from my camper justice videos or something like that, but that's just simply not the case. As you can see right here, I'm camping. Now, my preferred style of playing, what I like to do is to rush around, and you'll see that in the majority of my videos. Very rarely do I post anything camping, but sometimes I do camp, like I said, like I'm doing right here. If I'm playing a really good team, you know, sometimes I have to adjust my play style. Sometimes I just can't rush around and do well, you know, and if I would continue to just rush around, I'd probably go negative and end up hurting my teammates, you know, chances of winning. So I will adjust my style of play. Sometimes I will camp. You know, I don't have a problem with people camping. You have to understand, there is a rivalry between rushers and campers, all right? And normally it's a very heated rivalry where people don't like each other, but that's not the case when it comes to me. When I post a camper justice video, it is not about me saying, oh, campers stink, I hate campers, they're the worst part of the game or anything like that. It's more about that rivalry. It's more about me saying, man, I managed to beat somebody that I probably was tactically at a disadvantage with. You know, when somebody's just laying down on the stairs with a shotgun, you know, and that shock charge right there, you know, they have an advantage. When I'm able to get the upper hand on them, you know, I think that's cool. So that's why I post camper justice videos like the last one. The one before that I actually took down, you know, I made that and I got some feedback from you guys, and I saw that, you know, some of the things that I said or some of the ways I presented some things weren't the most positive. They were kind of mean-spirited, or they could be taken mean-spirited. Now, I didn't mean that when I posted that or anything like that, but I could see how that was. So I took down that video because I didn't want you guys thinking that I did not like campers or I thought less of them. You know, some of the best players I know are campers, and let me tell you something, it is a smart way to play. You know, I know rushers are going to hate me for saying that, and they're going to think I'm a jerk, and they're going to dislike this video, but to be honest with you, in hardcore team deathmatch, that is probably the best way to play. Now, in objective type games and different games like that, yeah, I'm not going to say that that is the best way to play, but in hardcore team deathmatch, that is a very smart way to play tactically. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, you know, since I am more of a rusher than a camper, you know, it really frustrates me when people are laying down in obscure places or sitting in dark corners, you know, and they end up taking me out. And sometimes I get really mad and I'll say, you camping whatever, you know, jerk or whatever like that while I'm playing, you know, and like I said, I will get super frustrated. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, you paid for the game. You can play it the way that you want to play it. That's your right. I'm not going to say I'm not going to get frustrated or I'm not going to get mad at people playing it that way. And I won't say that I won't actually play it, so I'm probably a hypocrite at the same time that I'm saying all this. But, you know, we just have to understand that there are different people that play the game different ways. There are different reasons. You know, my father is 60 years old. He cannot run and gun. All right? He's 60 years old. If he moves around the map, he is going to go -10 at least during the game, so he tends to like to play things tactically. It's no fun for him to run around, you know, being 60 years old and going really bad negative. You know, sometimes it's connection. You know, there are some times that I will slow down because I know that I am behind somebody and there's no way that I can run, you know, right alongside them and try and run and gun. So, you know, sometimes people don't have the greatest connections in a particular game, so they'll slow down and, you know, just tend to camp back a little bit. But, you know, I hope that at the end of the day, we can just have a little bit more respect for everybody, and I hope you guys don't think that I don't like campers. You know, yeah, you guys frustrate me a lot of times, but you know what? When that happens, I will adjust my playstyle. There are so many rushers out there that just get super mad at people camping, and they just, you know, go into a rage, and they rush even harder, and they go even more negative. You know, adjust your playstyle. You know, beat them at their own game. You know, when I lose, the first thing I want to do is point out how the other people weren't playing the way I thought the game should be played, and I get mad at them and everything like that. You know, I need to just chill and just realize that different people play the way they do for different reasons. But let me know what you guys think about this. Please be respectful. As always, though, take care and God bless.